How you doing? My name's George, the guitarist for a band called Popular Stranger. Local band. Only played a number of gigs.
Too much, mate. George from Popular Stranger.
Andy, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. Hey, George, let's chat about, first of all, how we know each other.
We go way back.
You do. How many years do you reckon it is?
2008. 2008. So do the maths.
Yeah, because you started at Nova at the same time that I did, literally in the same week.
Yep.
You were George the Tech. Well, that's where George the Tech was born, wasn't it?
It was apparently, yes. And it was referenced a number of times on air.
Yep. Bob Francis.
Bob Francis.
Graham Corns.
I've even been grilled on air by Bob Francis.
You haven't lived until you've been grilled by Bob Francis.
Exactly.
And the thing is, only a certain amount of people got grilled by Bob Francis because he's now dead.
Exactly.
So you're a limited edition griller.
Pretty much.
Well done.
Yeah, I've made the cut. Yeah.
So we started at Nova at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Casanovering / programming and you were in IT.
Yep.
And that's where our relationship bloomed.
Yeah.
How many years ago? 2008, you reckon?
2008. That's when I started. Do you want to hear a funny story?
Sure.
I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking about you the other day. So I was thinking we started around the same time, but when did we actually start hanging out? And I don't remember what time of the year, let's just say middle of the year we started.
Yeah.
And obviously, like you said, you're in a different department, so it's not like we crossed paths every day. Probably did for business reasons, I guess.
Sure.
But I remember the very first Christmas party we had at the garage in Light Square.
Funnily enough, I don't.
That might explain what I'm about to say. Because I remember I was hanging out, with my new colleagues, and I was wide-eyed, and trying not to embarrass myself. Basically.
Yeah, because you hadn't worked in the media before this, had you?
So I remember going to this Christmas party, and there was all the celebs. I remember Jane Doyle was there, Bob Francis, Keith Conlon, Tony Pilkington, John Blake, and I remember sitting there going, fire out, because my previous job was I come from defence, and for those who may or may not have ever worked in defence, it's a very formal environment, and then you go to radio.
It is open slather, son.
It's pretty much. It's chalk and cheese. And I remember being in the... Mind you, though, we've had many... Working defence, software engineers get a bit of alcohol in them. And it gets messy. So.
Well, because I'm assuming because you've got to hold back at your job and you can't be the real person.
Pretty much.
Because you have the rules and regulations, and then you get a bit of old mate into you and you become George the party animal. Yeah,
so Christmas parties in defence were quite rowdy. They were good fun.
Yeah.
But then I remember at this particular... The first one I had at a Nova was at a garage. And I remember towards the end of the night, word went around in the in the venue, and they're like, that new guy, and it was like, who? It was like Andy. I was like, oh, I know, yeah. It was like, he's passed out in the footpath, and that's what I realized. I was like, I reckon I'm going to get to like this guy.
Was that you that walked out and Graham Corns had said something
to you?
Yeah. Oh no. George was helping me in the gutter.
Oh right,
because he was my immediate boss. All right, so George is a legend for looking after me. Yeah. Because he didn't have to. He could have just left me there to rot with my Euros or whatever I had at the time. And apparently Graham Corns walked out and was like, shaking his head like these young kids don't know how to handle themselves.
It's such a dad thing to do.
Who was the guy that performed at that Christmas party? It was like an Australian Idol winner, wasn't it?
It was too.
Wes Carr.
That's the one.
Yes.
Jeez, glad you can remember. Yeah.
Well, that was the only bit that I remember, to be honest.
That might explain. I don't know if you remember our boss at the time, the GM, Bart.
Yes.
The alcohol budget ran out literally at around 9 o'clock. So
you know what? I was I was buying people shots.
Out of your money.
Out of my own personal money, which wasn't really well paid.
No.
Because I was going through a time at that time. It was Agua shots.
I remember those.
Yes.
Jeez, I'm feeling sick just thinking about it.
Yeah, they were some good time because
they were. Yeah.
Got to a point when I was DJing, I'd almost polish off a bottle of Agua.
Yeah.
So, I thought I was used to it, but obviously just the excitement of the night. Wes Carr was there, all those celebrities, like you said.
The celebs, no, it was good fun. It was good fun. And I remember, I won't name the celebrity, but she's a well-known, I'll probably give it away now, newsreader in Adelaide. And I remember...
Freshly retired, or?
Yes.
Yep.
And she was... And I remember everyone was drunk. And she somehow... The topic got onto her boobs. She brought it up.
Really?
And she was talking about how...
She's like, hey, everybody! Circle around me!
Yeah, and at this point, like, I used to see her on TV.
Yeah.
And, very formal newsreader. And then I see her at a Christmas party talking about how... What? Her boobs.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, where am I? What's this parallel universe I'm in?
This ain't defense.
This
is more like attack.
It's funny because I remember the first 2-3 weeks or 4 weeks that I was in radio. I was, like I said, I was in defense.
Yeah.
And I remember I still, the IT team that I was in and that I left defense, I'm still friends with them, believe it or not. We kept in touch. So they'd all message me or call me, every week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks after I left, and they're all asked, "What's it like in radio, man?" And I'm like, "My God, where do I start?"
Think of the loosest party you've ever had, times by 100, and you get paid for it.
Yeah, pretty much. There was, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on. It's a podcast. It's not a.
There's no rules, brother.
So. You probably remember this. So it was my first week in radio, and I remember walking down the corridor towards the Nova Studios. In the opposite direction, there was a bit of an entourage, and in the front of this entourage was a young lady dressed. How do I say it? Risque.
Risque. Yeah.
And I'm sitting and I'm walking, getting closer and closer. And do you know when you're walking? In the same, walking towards someone in a corridor, and you make eye contact, and you start to get a bit shy.
Yeah,
and you look up, and you look down, you look up, and you make eye contact again, and they're still looking at you. So then you look around, and it's like, oh my God!
You've already turned to the side, like letting them through 10 meters before they're about to arrive, because you can't look at them because you've already made eye contact.
Pretty much, yeah. So it turns out this lady was there was an expo at the time in Adelaide. Not the actual not a camping caravan expo.
Oh, Sexpo.
Sexpo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So she was apparently a porn star. She won the Porn Star Queen of the Year or something like that. Belladonna, her name was, allegedly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you automatically get your phone out and Google her as soon as you walked past? Well.
Yeah, I was like, oh, can you sign my chest?
Yeah. Is that what you said?
No. I wish I did. I should have.
You were pumping some old mates there at the time.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I remember, this is the story I used to tell my friends, my former colleagues, because this is a true story. When I remember every now and then, very rarely, but every now and then, I'd be walking down the corridor in the office while I was working in defense.
Yeah.
And there'll be visitors, right? And they'd be RAF staff or army, and the ones that would wear the uniform and the badges and it, like
all the metalware,
the metal and the big boots and like flat tops, like menacing kind of people. And I remember when I was in defense, every now and then you'd see that.
Yep.
And then in my first week in radio, I saw a porn star. So whatever the guys in my previous job would call me, say, hey, what's it like in radio? I'll tell them that story.
That's awesome.
Because that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, I don't think we ever saw any porn stars downstairs when I was around. So, like, well done.
It was all right. So, and the funny thing was, a day or two before, one of the staff members in the radio station was tasked to find this person, to contact them to come on site for an interview.
Yeah.
And I remember I casually walked into this person's office. I won't name him, but and he was browsing the internet for this person. So as you can imagine, if you punch in her name in Google,
alarm bells.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he was casually just looking through these particular adult websites for a contact number, and my jaw dropped. I was like, "What are you doing? You're going to get in trouble." He goes, "No. This is normal."
Yeah.
And again, I had my defense.
It's work research.
Yeah, it is. It's research. And here's me having my defense hat on. It's like, what are you doing? You can't do that.
Well, some insider secrets here. Mm-hmm. Would you have gotten back to your office and seen that there was alerts about someone looking up risque stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
So yeah. So there's software.
Goddamn.
Yeah. There was as part of not my job in particular, but you'll probably find you IT departments can filter certain words for internet usage in an office. So
and then you can ping which user was using it and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. The time, the website and all that. So yeah. Well,
getting nervous, George. I know I left Nova a few years back, but
yeah, I know. But yeah, some of the websites you'd see is like, really? During work? But
that's crazy.
Each to their own, I guess. Maybe they didn't have internet at home.
No, that's true.
This is during the 90s when there was pretty much a free for all. But you wouldn't do that now though. You know what I mean?
Nah.
You wouldn't, right?
Here at Auscast, anything is possible.
Fair enough.
It's all research, George.
Yeah.
So at what point... So we'll get to the popular stranger stuff in a second. We're still on the journey of you becoming a person, right?
A real man.
At what point did you sort of had you already been in a band at this time when I first met you at Nova? Or were you just jamming, or you just liked doing stuff with guitars?
I was actually in. So we met in 2008. The first band I was in 1997. So I started playing guitar in 1990.
Okay,
and pretty much metalhead.
Yep.
Although you look at me, I'm clean cut and very polite and well dressed.
Yes.
Employed.
Yeah. Sexy.
So, this is stretching the boundaries now.
Yeah.
But I've always been a metalhead, and that was what got me. Well, metal was the first and only type of music I used to listen back in the day when I was 20 years old. That's when remember 1990 when Metallica released the Black Album and the first song was Enter Sandman?
Yeah, look, I was 4.
Oh, really? Jesus. So when I first heard Enter Sandman, prior to that as a teenager, I used to be that type, I don't know, back in the day, they used to release compilation albums in summer.
Yeah.
Top 40 hits and all that.
Yeah. So fresh.
Yes, things like that. And I remember I used to have like a Bon Jovi cassette or Aerosmith cassette.
Yeah.
And as a teenager, I'd listen to them. I was like, that's not too bad, but that was a bad deal. Music wasn't really my thing until I've heard Enter Sandman for the very first time.
Yeah.
And without sounding too corny, and it was a life-changing moment, basically. So all of a sudden, I was like, "What? Who is this?" Like I heard of the name Metallica prior to that, but never did anything to care, right? So I checked out their back catalogue and just got hooked.
Yeah.
So a year or two later, I was like, I want to learn how to play these riffs. So I started playing guitar when I was around 20 years old.
Yeah, right.
So I remember for the first 3 or 4 or 5 years, I was no intentions ever to join a band, none, because the mere thought of it, I was scared, like just intimidated by, basically.
Yeah, because you're a kind, introverted sort of gentleman, aren't you? Like,
yeah,
really?
It's not that. It's more so because I just wasn't confident.
You're rat shit on the guitar.
Yeah,
basically
pretty much. Yeah,
you want to play.
Although I tried, but it's just one of those. It's scary.
When you were learning to do guitar or play guitar, were you just playing out of books, or did you go see a teacher? Or
I had
YouTube wasn't really around back then, right?
Not even close. So I started in 1990. YouTube was like 2010.
You're telling the story, sir.
Yeah. Well, the internet wasn't hardly even out. So I through a mutual friend, I met this young dude who lived up in the hills, in the foothills. And I remember the first lesson like it was yesterday. I borrowed my friend's $20 Kmart guitar, right?
Yeah.
And at that point, I wouldn't even call myself a guitarist, obviously. So I remember going to this dude's house. I was 20 years old, and this kid was 17.
Yeah.
And he tells me, so what do you know how to play? Asking me. And I'm looking at it, I was like, what do I know how to play? I was like, dude, I don't even know whether I'm left or right-handed. I don't even know how to hold this thing, right? So then I asked him, I said, what can you play? He's like, a bit of this, and he starts shredding, like all the widdly diddly stuff. And I'm looking at him, I was like, if this kid's 17 and he could play that, like he was playing, for those that know, the guitarists out there, Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, Malmsteen, he was playing all that kind of widdly diddly stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, I was like, why am I even bothering? I don't even know how to hold a guitar. This kid's doing that.
Yeah.
So fast forward about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, I'd get lessons up from him every week, basically. Cool. I loved it. In fact, I bumped into him the other day and I was we were reminiscing. I said, dude, you remember when you were teaching? I said, every day, like at the end of every lesson, when I used to leave his house,
yeah,
I'd count down the days till my next lesson.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. We hugged and we cried.
I mean, that means that you were doing something you really loved,
Obsessed. Yeah. And I still do. It's 30 years have gone past.
So was he the same age as you at the time?
17 and I was 20.
Oh, okay. So what is he doing now? Is he still in that sort of
funny
realm?
Funny you ask, because he builds guitars for a living. His name is Chris Lau. And he has a guitar company called Lauda Guitars, Lauda, Lauda Guitars, based up at McGill, top of McGill. Yeah. And his assistant, Kat, she helps him as well. And they build guitar. And in fact, I bought one off him about a year ago.
And what's the difference between one of their guitars and one of those ones that you used to bring into Nova that was like worth $4,500?
Similar price, but I can honestly tell you, because I'm not saying this because I consider them friends and I bought a guitar off them.
Sure.
But the workmanship on this thing is second to none.
So handcrafted. Right?
It's a work of art. It looks amazing and sounds amazing.
Is there a certain style of guitar that they do?
They do different types. The one I bought is the model I bought is called the Night Owl, which is a hollow body basically. So I when I buy guitars, listen to me, it sounds like I buy them every week, which I don't.
Well, if anyone looked in your house, they would think you did.
Yeah, I have 13. So I'll put it this way: I have 13 guitars, right? Yeah. But it's all well and good to buy another. So I've got a Gibson, Les Paul. I've got a Strat. I've got a Telecaster. I've got an Ibanez. Each guitar set is a different model, I guess, and they each serve a different purpose. Different styles of music. So the reason why I bought one from Chris and Kat is, first and foremost, I love their guitars. They're amazing quality.
Yeah.
But it was also a point of difference as well.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point of me getting another Stratocaster? I've got one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I want to get something different. So, yeah. So
have you ever bought the same guitar because it was a different color that you liked?
Nope.
No.
No. I've been tempted. Don't get me wrong. Most of my guitars I bought are impulse buy.
Yeah.
Either I'll go to the shops just to literally buy strings, and I walk out with a $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 guitar.
I mean, we'll continue on the story, but if you fast forward to Popular Stranger, now you've got a reason to buy different guitars now.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yeah, not that I need an excuse, but yeah, that's my excuse now.
Yeah. So going on from there, old mate, who was a few years younger than he was teaching you, you started to get into the whole thing of, man, this is actually something I really want to do now.
Yeah.
Where did it progress from after that?
Yeah, like I said, I remember telling Chris early on, even after about 6 months of playing, Chris, my teacher at the time, he goes, man, you're ready for bands, playing in a band. Just the mere thought of him telling me that story.
Yeah.
When I heard him say that, I broke into a sweat. I was like, no.
When he was teaching to play guitar, because I'm so uneducated in this world.
No, that's fine.
Did you play with him, or he just tell you and show you how to do it?
Yeah, he showed me. He more often than not, he was a metalhead as well, but he was a much broader styles of music. He could play jazz, blues, rock. He could play it all, basically.
Yeah.
But knowing that, he knew that obviously that I was a metalhead. So he'd say, "What do you want to learn?" Well, next week, tell me what song you want to learn, and I'll teach you the following week. So it helps when you're taught or you learn something on guitar or drums or bass or whatever, keyboard, a song that you like.
Yeah.
For example, I don't know if I've heard so many people say, "Oh, my teacher when I first started," these are teenagers or people in their, or maybe not 20s. In the teenagers, when their first lesson, the teacher would show them how to play Bar Bar Black Sheep.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why? Who cares? It's just learn a song.
Yeah.
So on my first lesson, I learned how to play, what's that Bob Dylan song? Knocking on Heaven's Door. It's only 3 chords.
Yeah.
I couldn't play it to save my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I couldn't even move my fingers from one chord to the other. I had to use my other hand to move my fingers one at a time.
Yeah, right.
A bit slow.
Yeah.
But it's practice. And so to answer your questions, basically, Chris would say, today we're going to learn this, and he'll play the riff. And I was like, cool.
Yeah, because I was going to say, if you guys played together or not, because that's technically like a little band, right?
No, it is, So it's, especially when I got a bit more, if you want to call it advanced, it depends who you ask, but most people progress, they learn rhythm guitar first.
Yep.
And then they learn play lead guitar solos, all the widdly diddly stuff.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to get to that point, right? You've got to learn for me, it was learning how to walk or crawl before you walk, I guess.
Yeah.
So when I got to the point where I could play lead guitar to a degree, yes, to answer your question, Chris and I used to jam. So he'd play a chord progression in the key of A or C or whatever.
Yep.
And he'll say, play solo in the key of A. So he'd be going, ding, 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 and I'll try to basically play a solo, improvise.
Yep.
Which is not easy. Improvising is not easy even now, but that's how you learn though. You gotta get thrown in the deep end, so to speak.
That's awesome. So he turns around to you and say, you ready for bands? You start sweating. Did anything happen from there?
Yeah, it wasn't. So I reckon I was taking lessons for about a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I thought, you know what? It's time to go solo. As in not solo. As in keep learning, but by myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By listening to, back in those days, cassettes, CDs even.
Yep.
So that's what I did. Unfortunately, there was no YouTube. Like YouTube now, you can get on YouTube and say, Stairway to Heaven guitar solo lesson, and there'll be a person showing you note for note perfectly.
Yeah.
I still do that. After 30 years of playing, I'm still learning. I don't kid myself. I'm not kidding myself thinking that I know everything. You never do.
Yeah.
You never stop learning. So anyway, I reckon it was about 4 or 5 years, probably 1995. I remember went to Alan's Music in Gawler Place, which is not there anymore.
Yeah.
Down the stairwell, there's a pin-up board, and it said it's basically if you're looking for a band, you put an ad up there. And I remember I put up an ad. Guitarist looking for drummer, bass player, singer.
Oh, wow. So you weren't looking at joining a band. You were wanting to put one together.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because one thing I did know, which is probably why I was a bit more nervous, is even to this day, cover songs bore me to tears. I was never interested in being that band that used to play at the pub every Saturday night playing, Jesse's Girl or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fun for them. As long as they're having fun, awesome.
Yeah, they don't look like they're having fun half the time, I'll be honest with you.
it's yeah. Well, for me, I get, in terms of playing guitar, I get a lot more satisfaction trying to come up with my own riff or music.
Yep.
Even if it's crap, I don't care.
It's mine. You're pushing out your internal emotions and all that sort of stuff.
And your brain works overtime trying to come up with something new, original. You know what I mean? So yeah, I put an ad out for looking for original band, basically. And this dude called Scott, a singer, called me. I was like, oh, wow. So we caught up. I remember we went to the Crown and Anchor just for a drink, and this guy lived down south, and he was never been in a band before, never sung. Is that the word? Sang? He was a singer.
Yeah.
But it was never in a band, never had lessons or anything. I was like, oh.
What type of singer was he?
So we were a metal band. So he screamed basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was my thing anyway. So
yeah.
So I was like, okay, so we're gonna need a drummer and a bass player. He goes, well, funny you ask, because I know a drummer and a bass player. And within, honestly, 2 weeks, we booked a room. I can't remember where it was, a rehearsal room, maybe somewhere at Holden Hill somewhere.
Yep.
For our very first jam. Oh my God. I remember it was yesterday, is the pain. Because none of us came prepared, right? Because I didn't know any cover songs, even metal songs. I didn't know any. I knew how to play riffs. Like if you'd have told me to play Enter Sandman, I could probably play the first half of the song.
Yeah.
And then that was pretty much it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because for me, I learnt those songs not to play the whole song, but to learn the riffs and the techniques.
Yep.
Which you could apply to other styles or other
sure.
your own riffs, you know what I mean? So I never sat down, even to this day, I probably don't even know whole songs, metal songs that is. So we rocked up to this rehearsal room, set up, plugged in. I remember I had an amp, which is the size of a bloody KFC bucket.
Because also at this point, you guys aren't best mates. You guys aren't
never
like,
met these people.
Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah.
Also, you're not prepared.
Yeah.
And fuck knows what's going to happen next.
Yeah. So we're all plugged in. You can hear the humming of the amp. You go, and everyone's looking at each other, and there's that silence. It's like, so what are we going to do?
Did they all look at you because you were the one that created them?
Dude, no, it happens all the time. I'm not complaining, but I find the guitarist, everyone turns to the guitarist and then say, so what have you got?
Oh, really?
What have I got? What do you got?
Like they're like the internal manager.
Yeah, no, I think it's
the basic. Like, is it the foundation of the song?
Yeah, it's the rhythm of the song.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the drummer could come up with a beat, and I could try to come up with a riff for it.
Yeah.
But more often, so anyway, all these dudes would like turn to me, so what do you got? Like, what have I got?
Nothing. Syphilis. That's problematic, Rose. What do you guys got?
A headache.
Confusion.
Yeah, pretty much. So anyway, it was basically all right. I thought I got to come up with something. So I literally did chord progressions and the odd jog, and a bit fast and a bit slow, and and everyone joined in, and it was painful.
Yeah,
but I'll be honest with you, man. We packed up and everyone's high-fiving each other. And I remember packing up and going home, and I was driving home, and I had the biggest buzz ever. It was. I loved every minute of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it was painful. Yeah. It's like, honestly, not that we've played many gigs, but playing a gig, it's, for me, it's not. I don't want to use the word terrifying, but it's like you mentioned before. I'm a bit of an introvert. It's not my style to be on stage. But when I'm on stage with other people, I don't get as nervous.
No.
But playing guitar, though, just adds that extra layer of anxiety sort of thing.
Yeah, there's something about, like, being creative and doing it in front of people you don't really know and accomplishing it. Like, if you nail it and you have a great time in the end, the fucking high that you go home with.
Exactly.
Like, crazy.
Yes,
You used to get a DJing. And that's not even really any skill, let alone you with a skill.
Yeah.
You know, so...
yeah, bit of a stretch, but thank you.
I'm just relating. Nowhere near it.
No, I was talking about you calling me a
skillful person.
Okay. No, but I totally get it. What you mean? It's no matter. It's kind of nerve-wracking. Not nerve. It's terrifying sometimes on stage. Right?
Yeah.
People just looking at you, and you're playing. And you think, oh, don't. And in your head, you think, all I'm thinking is, don't mess up. Okay, this next bit, I've got to do this. This next bit, I've got to do this. That's how my head thinks, because I'm not a virtuoso. Like, if you were to ask a pro touring guitarist, they'll play it, upside down.
This is the reason why some people get stuck in alcohol performing, because like it fucking makes them not think about all that sort of stuff, the anxiety and all that sort of thing.
Funny story. I'll go back to the whole band stuff, but I remember one of the first things my guitar teacher told me. He goes, if you ever intend to go on stage, play live, drunk, make sure you practice playing drunk, right? So I've never heard that before. Yeah,
that is some great advice, guys.
It is.
Kids at home, right now, write that down.
Yeah, exactly. But I've never actually played drunk, because I can't play properly. It's hard enough for me to play guitar and breathe properly, let alone stand up and be sober.
I've seen you have it. You did pretty
long time ago. So I remember one night, there was one occasion where I had a few drinks. So I had a few friends over years ago. Had a few friends over for drinks, and we were half cut. And then like everybody, and one of the boys like, you play guitar, go play something. And I was like, oh God. So I remember I had a few people in the room, and I was drunk. I remember, of all songs, I played a Megadeth song called Holy Wars, which was fast and very difficult. Yep. So idiot me decides to play that. Oh, I play Holy Wars, as you do, drunk. It was I remember halfway through that riff, looking up, and the look on the people's face was like, when they wanted to like not show that they're disappointed.
Yeah.
They're looking at me as like, oh, that's good, George. Well done.
So when you've looked up for them and you've seen that, I mean, obviously the delay of you realizing what's going on is going to be a little bit. Yeah. But did you go, maybe it's time to pull out of this?
Yeah, pretty much.
And can it, or you just try to struggle to the end?
No, that's what I did. The big wind up. You do the big power chord.
That was a weird place to put that power chord. Anyway, let's head to the bar.
Yeah, pretty much. That's there are people like, oh, you're good, George. Yes.
Yeah, Megadeth.
So that was the last time. Yeah. So anyway, the band. So we ended up far out. We ended up the name. We had to decide on a name. That's the other thing. Trying to come up with original songs when you've never done it before. Yeah. Trying to come up with a cool name.
Yeah.
When you've never done it before.
Yeah, because I would assume that a lot of the names, even if they do sound cool to the public, you just think they just sound like shit.
Do you know what
I've been through creative processes like this before, and it's fucked.
Yeah. The weirdest thing was, I'll never forget the drummer. He was a pretty cool dude. Brad, his name was. Sadly passed away.
Yeah.
he was a very laid back kind of guy, and he loved The Simpsons. And his favorite character is Willie, the groundskeeper, the Scottish guy. Yeah. And there was a scene. I remember when he said it, when he told me. He goes, "There's a scene where Willie, I think he jumps out of his tool shed, and he does like a Superman thing where he rips his shirt off and you can see his chest. Yeah. And he goes, 'It's Willie's time,' right? So it's me, he's Willie's out there. He's going to kick some butt and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And he goes, 'That's what we should call our band, Willie's Time.' And I'm like, yes.
not realizing what the other meanings of it meant. I'm assuming
after we all stopped, high-fiving each other, we're like, wait a minute. That one.
And then we're like, maybe we should still do it.
Yeah. So coming up with a name was not easy. So we ended up choosing a name called Ill Accord. Ill accord, which means opposite. Accord meaning
Honda.
No. Accord meaning what's a word? Accord meaning everything's structured and nice and in place.
Oh, okay. Because I thought you were going to say accord as in I play a chord.
No, accord as in like everything's working and peaceful.
Okay.
Ill accord, opposite. Ooh, very metal.
Yeah.
I was trying to avoid a cliche metal name. Yeah. So anyway, it came down to a vote, right? There was
Bin Lid. G'day guys, we're Bin Lid.
Bin Lid, yeah. As a joke, I've always said we should call our band Pretty Good. So when the singer says, "Hey, everybody, we're pretty good," but that didn't end up.
Next band.
Yeah,
maybe a side hustle band. Always people that have got some little side stuff going on.
Yeah. So anyway, we picked Ill Accord and we put it down to a vote. There was 4 of us in the band, and let's just say the vote was 3-1, and I was that one. I didn't like it.
So you're the guy. In the background.
No. So I was like, well, look all it is. So again, I was all original songs, and we only ended up doing about 6 or 7 songs, and we played a couple of gigs.
So still very heavy, like is it a genre?
Yeah, heavy. The bands I used to listen to back then was, apart from obviously Megadeth, Slayer, all your cliche, metal bands from the 80s and 90s, Pantera, Sepultura. Yeah. I was, still am, surprisingly. Not surprisingly, still am, listen to death metal. So I used to listen to bands like Carcass, Napalm Death. Surprisingly,
these are amazing names. I haven't heard of those 2 bands, but they are amazing names.
I could give you some more names, but it's you'll question our friendship. Even there's another band called Rotting Christ. Right? Yeah, go figure. There's another one. That's awesome. I know. There's another one called what are they called? I can't remember what they. Anyway, I can't remember. Nah, go on. Anyway, I used to listen to death metal, right? And just all...
So death metal compared to heavy metal, is death metal just way screamier?
Yeah, basically.
And super duper heavy?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Like Death?
It's to the point, basically. There's a band called Death as well, yeah. So I used to listen to... So most of my... And I'm going to get a bit technical now. So sure. 99.9% of the guitars out there in guitar world are tuned in standard E tuning. Right, so if you go E, if you hit every string, it'll be E, A, D, G, B, E, right? That's your standard tuning. Most of the songs listed on radio now will be standard tuning. You find in a lot of music, especially metal, if you tune the guitar, make the strings more slinkier, more wobbly, you're tuning it down.
Yep.
And it goes from like that level. So when you got all the strings down, the whole guitar just sounds heavy.
Full brown note.
Yeah.
Like just super deep.
Pretty much. So I had mine tuned down 1.5 steps, which was C sharp, right?
Yep.
And it was heavy. It was like Black Sabbath have a lot of their songs in that tuning. So being in one guitar band, I called the shots. I was like, which I kind of liked. Yeah. So I said, we're going to be playing in C sharp. And it was like, okay. So
stupid question here. Does the drummer need to worry about it?
No, nothing.
Okay,
just the bass player needs to match.
Okay.
Match you.
And I'm guess the vocalist as well, just sort of.
Yeah, but he's all right. So he can just
scream.
So just scream away. So anyway, we're a heavy sounding band, a lot of fast stuff. But I'll be honest with you, we're a garage band. Yeah, garage band at best. But man, I had so much fun.
Great bit of software, by the way.
Oh, garage band, yeah. It is actually, yeah.
So you were literally playing in a garage, or you still going to the rooms?
We hired rehearsal rooms.
Yep.
I can't remember, somewhere down Richmond Road. I don't know. I think they're still there.
I know the one on the corner of Richmond Road and Sir Donald Bradman.
There's a survey there?
Yeah, but it's like across the road?
Just behind the building there. Yeah.
Yeah.
There. Is it still there, is it?
Yeah, but I remember them one being there.
Yeah, you know what? I think it is still there. I think it is. So anyway, we jammed there.
It'd be pretty rough then. I reckon this would be pretty used.
Oh, yeah. Well, most rehearsal rooms are pretty... like the little studio we're in here, this is world class.
Thank you.
Clean.
Yeah.
So we're together for about 2-3 years.
Yeah.
I reckon we played about 2 or 3 gigs, but the last gig we played was in front of 2 people at the bar who weren't even looking at us. They're back face to us, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday night.
Like Enigma or something like that?
No, this was. What was that pub where Nova was, the studio?
Yeah.
If you go down that main road, remember the adult venue? Just before that. What's it called? It's not. It's still there, but there's apartments
the flagpole place.
Yeah.
It was called
before that now. Before that. The
pub. And then they renovated it.
Yeah, that place.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah. You got heaps of apartments above it.
Yeah.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
We played there. So way before they renovated it. So I remember we played a gig there, and as much as I enjoy playing, but when you're playing in front of 2 people on a Saturday night, 1 in the morning, it's kind of disheartening. And
random question, because there's only 2 people, do you guys still get paid? Or you're not getting paid at all?
Mate, you rarely get paid for gigs. Or we don't. Never did. Even now. It's just, whoops.
He's angry, guys.
Where's my money?
Where's my money, bitch?
We only played a couple of gigs, but that was so much fun, mate. I realised, man, as nerve-wracking as a gig is and can be.
It's the whole trauma, and then looking back and how much you learnt out of it when you didn't really know that you're learning.
Exactly.
And look at you now.
Yeah.
So you guys have done that gig with 2 people, and then you've decided to finish up. So how does that? Do you guys just text each other or phone each other and go, "Look, guys, I think this is a bit shit now"?
Yeah, basically that. Not. I don't think we had phones back then. No. It was
you rang each other on each other's parents' landline.
Dude, that's how it was. I remember. I'll never. Do you know what? I'll never forget
with the rotary numbers.
Yeah. I was still living at home at that time, and my folks being ethnic, a Greek background. Right. I'll never forget when Scott called me, and the phone was in the kitchen, and my parents had friends over. Now the thing with ethnic families, right, especially parents. There's no volume switch, right? So when they talk to the uninitiated, you think they're shouting. Yeah, they're not shouting.
It's emotion.
Emotive. That's how they talk. Yeah. And I remember being on the phone, and Scott was the first time he called me. Like we were doing the hi, are you George? Are you the guy? Yeah, it was like yes. And in the background, it was just like a riot. It was just people talking and yelling. And I remember turning around to Mum and just gave her the. What the hell look?
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, she's sorry. So anyway, yes. So the way we broke up, I guess, if you want to call it, it was very amicable because everyone knew, it was like, I think it's run its course. Because we actually ended up recording a demo, which was our goal.
Oh, really?
So we hired a studio, we hired an audio engineer for the day. We practiced about 5 or 6 songs leading up to that day for a couple of weeks, and then we got in there and we just basically plugged in and then knocked out these songs and still got the CDs. So
and have you listened back to them since then?
Every now and then I'll pull out the CD, and I listen to what I used to play, and oh my God, I play so differently now. I still play heavy stuff and I still listen to heavy stuff, but since then, over the years, my taste in music has broadened. Yeah. Still heavy, still hard rock, metal, but I like folk, I like blues, I like classical music, believe it or not. I listen to classical music. I've even learnt, I guess if you want to call it learnt, I appreciate more so Greek music, Middle Eastern music. Yeah. Just completely different styles. Yeah. It's good for the soul. It's good. It's all well and good listening to music loud and fast, which I still love. I could listen to all day, but it's good to mix it up a bit. So
yeah, that's what I found, like going to music with theatre for the first time. I was like, years ago I would have gone, that's fucked. Yeah, I'm not going to that. And now you're like, no, I really appreciate that. Yeah. You appreciate good music. I think that's what it is. Well-crafted music.
That's exactly right. It's probably a blessing that I started playing guitar because For me, at least, not for the world. for music in general.
Yeah, your poor neighbours.
Yeah.
They copped it.
Yeah, they did. So no, the one thing playing guitars taught me was there is, as much as I love metal, I reckon if we should do a drinking game. Listen back to this and your eyes lit up.
Now.
Every time I say the word metal on this podcast, we have a drink.
We'll be blind in the first 10, I reckon.
Pretty much. Yeah. So when I quote unquote got better at guitar, you know, fast forward 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
And then, because believe it or not, as a teenager, even when I was in my 20s, up to my mid-20s learning guitar, I didn't care for Jimi Hendrix. I didn't care for it. Like people say, "Oh, you get a list of Hendrix." No, I don't care. It wasn't my thing. You know what I mean?
It's like two guitar.
Yeah, it's
like, if you know what I mean. It's not metal as well.
Yeah, no, it's just not my style. Yeah. I can, and it wasn't until I actually started listening to him, I was like, "Oh, I can just you pick up little bits and pieces, like, oh, I like what he did there."
Yeah,
and then you listen to it again, it's like, oh, and that as well. And I like that as well. And before you know it, it's like, far out.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
Yeah.
I get why people love this guy. You know what I mean? And then I started listening to
and also you appreciated it because of the technical part of it as well,
exactly right. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
The skills in it.
Yeah. And so my taste in music, like I said, I still listen to metal and I still play metal at home. But the band I'm in at the moment, Popular Stranger, far from it.
Yeah.
We're a classic rock band basically.
Yeah.
Which I love. Like Doors, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, that kind of style.
Well, your new singer, what was it called?
You're Sticking Around.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Full Metallica.
I wish.
Like, like that's literally because I was only introduced to Metallica when Garage Inc. came out. So I had all the new stuff, but then I also had the second CD which had all the older stuff on it. Yeah. And it sounds like Metallica. That's what I get out of it. And also like a slow jam Linkin Park almost.
Yeah. I see the reference to Metallica. It's like a power ballady Metallica, like a Nothing Else Matters kind of
correct,
and the Unforgiven kind of level.
Yep.
But less aggressive guitars. More, just more bluesy, classic rock style.
So is Popular Stranger? You guys have been official as Popular Stranger for not too long, but you've been together for fucking forever, right?
Yeah, pretty much. In fact, Popular Stranger, the band, the name, has been around prior. So I met these two boys. Shout out to my boys, Steve and Nick.
Yo.
So these two boys, they've known each other for years. They were,
high school sweethearts. Is that what you're going to say? You were going to say it. I felt it and I was going to say it too.
They've known each other since high school, basically. Okay. And sorry about that. Fraudulence. Is that the word? Fraudulent? Fraudulent. No, fraudulent. Yeah, whatever.
Do you do the lyrics in the band?
No. Is that what you there's a reason why.
Yeah, we'll go with that, boys.
Yeah. So I met these two dudes years ago, over 10 years ago, through a mutual friend. Yeah. Because this mutual friend of mine, who were at this, which is weird, because he knew me, I've known this guy, mutual friend, for years.
Yeah.
Right. And he goes, "Oh, do you play guitar?" I was like, "Well, you only just realised this now."
Are you my real fucking friend?
Yeah.
Are you listening to what I've been talking about?
So he said, "Oh, I know these two dudes. They're playing a band. You should call them and have a jam." So I did.
So were they just playing together?
Yeah, they're just at home. It was just not a full band.
Yeah. Okay.
So Steve, the singer.
Yeah.
I hate him because I'm jealous. He's a multi-instrumentalist. Plays guitar.
Yeah.
Plays drums. Plays bass. Plays keyboards.
Wow.
And sings.
So just a real committed musical lifestyle.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So when I met them, they used to just jam together. So whatever mood they were in, they'll pick up. And Nick's another multi-instrumentalist.
Disgustingly crazy.
I know. It makes me sick. Yeah. whereas when I play guitar, I forget how to breathe. So Nick, also, who's our current bass player, can play keyboards.
Yeah.
So again, those two know how to play multiple instruments, whereas I don't. So to answer your question, what were the guys doing previously? They did have a drummer, I believe, and they were jamming with him, and there was different permutations, I guess, of the band. But when I met them, it was just those two.
So did they ever play two instruments at once? Like obviously drumming and singing can be done.
Yeah, which is what Steve does.
Does he drum and have a keyboard to the side every now and then?
No.
Like with his fingers?
No. Although when we jammed, Steve would grab the harmonica and just play drums and harmonica.
Far out, man.
But when I say drums, I'm not talking with his hands. Just uses kick.
No, but he's doing two things at once. I can't do that, like you said.
Yeah, like I said, mate, I can't walk and talk without tripping over. So it's So I met them like well over 10 years ago. Yeah. And the idea was basically just to jam, have fun, and that's what we're doing. Yeah. So for a long time.
I remember you saying you'd always be jamming and stuff.
And these boys were into original music as well, and into classic rock, which at the time I was sort of getting into it. Yeah. But we say this story every now and then with the boys because it's kind of funny or sad. It depends which way you look at it. My gear, my guitars and amps I had at that time was still metal.
Oh, really?
I had nothing that was remotely bluesy or classic rock. So I remember my first jam with them, and these guys were playing like Led Zeppelin, Doors kind of stuff, like chilled classic rock. And then there's me with my... I remember them looking at me and they were polite. They were saying...
That's like rolling up to a fight with a bowl of jelly.
Yeah, pretty much.
G'day, guys.
or table tennis with a baseball bat.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, there's George coming to play table tennis with a chainsaw.
Yeah. Basically.
So you say, I don't know, do you remember the first time you jammed with him?
Yeah, the first couple of times actually. And I remember...
Did you have to adjust?
Oh yeah. Actually, could we go back a few years prior to that? I was going to say I can explain my decline from metal, but it's not really a decline. My morphing
change in taste.
Yes, basically. Yeah. So after Ill Accord, I was just playing at home by myself, which I'm happy with because I had my laptop and I was doing home recording and all that.
I don't think that band would have ever gone any further. That name just doesn't ring up. No, it doesn't roll off the tongue. It's very hard to market.
And truth is, like I said, love the guys, love having fun and all that, but you got to be realistic.
So it sounds French as well, whatever.
Ill Accord. Sounds like a dish. Yeah. So after that, my mate Rob from work back in the defense company years ago, he played guitar. So we put a band together. Okay. So we were more rock orientated. So we scrounged a few mates left, right, and center, a drummer, a bass player. So that Rob was the other guitarist. And this band, so this is slightly different to the first band I was in. This is more rock orientated, a bit metal,
sure,
but more rock. And Rob sang as well. So we had all original songs. And then we were together for about 3-4 years. We never gigged, but we ended up doing a recording as well with this band.
Okay,
right?
Cool.
As much as I felt like a jerk because I broke their hearts, but I sort of moved on from there, right? Because there was a local muso, or still is, local muso called Emily Davis.
Who cheated on them. Is that what happened?
No, I told him up front. I
said, I was going to cheat on you.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah,
there's a chick that's just arrived.
Yeah. So a mate of mine, Tony, shout out to Tony, he calls me one day, he goes, his wife knows a local muso, his friends, called Emily Davis. And Emily Davis is basically acoustic folk stuff. Very chilled.
I think I've heard of her before.
You would have heard of her, dude. She's bloody good, I tell you. Yeah. You're right. Very good. And she's on Spotify. Check it out, Emily Davis. So Tony's like, dude, you like get in touch, have a jam, do gigs. Because she's just looking, she's like, at the time, she changes formations, like sometimes she'll do a full band, sometimes half a band, do a gig like that, or just sometimes just a single, her with the acoustic guitar.
Yep.
So this phase she was going through, she just wanted a second guitarist, an acoustic guitarist. And I think at this point I was playing for 10 years. So everything I played was fast with electric guitar, loud and with distortion.
So literally the complete opposite to what
Pretty
she was.
Much.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was, I don't think at that time I even owned an acoustic guitar.
Really?
Yeah, I never owned because I didn't care for them because it wasn't loud enough, right?
Again, I'm uneducated in the whole guitar world. Mm-hmm. I did try once, but I was very, very young. Can you play acoustic songs with an electric guitar?
Yeah, absolutely. You just turn off everything. Because if you plug in an electric guitar into an amp that's clean channel, because your amp can be 2 channels. Most of them have.
Yeah, because there's always like a button you press on, meow,
basically.
that, right?
And if you turn that off, it's clean channel, which sounds like an acoustic guitar. So down to your question, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But I liked noise at that point and speed.
Yeah.
So I was telling Tony, I was like, mate, I don't even have an acoustic guitar, and I can't even play slow. You know what I mean? So anyway, I was like, you know what? Why not? So I bought an acoustic, called it first before I made the investment in buying a guitar.
Yeah.
So we hit it off, and I loved it. It taught me to slow the hell down.
Yeah.
And it taught me just to play nice chords.
Because with metal, you could hide behind the distortion if you fucked something up.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
You can hide, especially if you're doing the lead guitar, like the widdly diddly stuff.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You just do another solo.
Mate, I still do it. I still do it now. I'll make a mistake, but you can.
George, you did 22 minutes of solo continuously. you couldn't find a place to get out.
Pretty much, eh? Yeah. So the good thing about meeting Emily Davis, and we did a few gigs as well, I loved every minute of it, even though it without sounding corny, it challenged me, or my guitar playing, I guess, to get out of my comfort zone, which was everything fast, heavy, and loud, to play acoustic and to play slowly. Yeah. And I learned so much. So I can't remember how long we did it. Not that long, a year and a half maybe. Just played a half dozen gigs here and there.
Yep.
So I loved doing that. So and then that's when I got the phone call to hook up with the guys from Popular Stranger.
Yep. So the name Popular Stranger is already around at that point?
They had that. The boys had that floating around.
Yep.
So, because I remember I asked them, I said, what's the name of your band? And they said, Popular Stranger. And I'm like, because the thing is, when you're in and out of bands like I am, or maybe not even, if a friend tells you, if you ask a friend, what's the name of your band? And they tell you, your head does this like a processing. Yeah,
yeah.
Do I like that name? It's a shit name. I did it with Popular Stranger. Like, Popular Stranger is like, you know what? I like that name. That sounds killer.
Yeah.
that's better than Ill Accord, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I can understand it.
I like it already.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I met Popular Stranger, even though I had my gear was, see, with Emily Davis, I used my acoustic guitar.
Yep.
So all my electric stuff was still heavy metal.
Yep.
Orientated. So that's the gear I took to my first jam with Nick and Steve.
Okay.
And they're playing along, and here's me going. And I was
you've got a guitar that looks like a lightning bolt, and like they're just there with their
something like that, yeah.
rock gear.
So, but the truth is, I realized pretty early on, even the first 10 minutes, was like these guys, we clicked.
Yeah,
their
right.
eyes, and they noticed. Well, I like to think they did.
Yeah.
So there was this, and above all, they play all originals, which is perfect for me.
That's
and
cool.
Without sounding cheesy, but as far as the music goes, I'll be more than happy, for example, Ill Accord, I'll be more than happy to tell you that we're a garage band and our music was nothing special. But like I said, I had a blast, absolute blast doing it, right?
Yeah.
I can hand on heart tell you that the music that we write for Popular Stranger, I cannot be any prouder. This is the best music I've ever been involved with.
That's cool.
I know it sounds big-headed, but don't care.
No, that's great.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you're not proud of the music, then why are you doing them?
Correct.
You know what I mean? So so we started writing songs. It's a slow process. It's for us it is. Some bands can write songs, in minutes.
Yeah.
We don't, right? And that's cool. That's the way it is. You know what I mean? So,
but also you guys are older with a lot more skill behind you and thought processes and learning. So probably that's another reason why the process takes so long.
We focus on the song. You know what I mean? It's like for me now, when I play guitar, back in the day, it'll all be about look at me, everybody, look what I can do,
look at my solo,
that. Whereas now I'll write. I don't care how fast or slow it is, as long as it suits the song. And I'd like to think not only my parts, but also everyone, like the drummers, the bass player, the keys, or the vocals. We focus on the song.
When you guys are writing the song, is it really up to you to take care of the guitar stuff, or is it like is it really a creative space where you all get involved in everyone's business? Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, everyone's basically.
You might be like, oh, this drum riff might sound better with this song, but you're not the drummer.
The way we've done it is that the boys had a collection of songs already before I met them.
Oh, okay.
Right? Most of which, not most. Yeah, most. Steve, the singer, who can also play guitar, drums, keys, and all that, wrote, right? So some of the songs, a fair few of them, have been transcribed, I guess, if you want to call it, into rock songs. Because they were just basically him sitting on the couch playing acoustic. So when I first met them, Steve would say, here, play this. So I'd play what he played on my electric guitar or acoustic, whatever, and basically convert that to a rock song. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's that one single we have on Spotify, soon to be hopefully 2, by the way. We have another song around the corner.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Can't wait.
And that was an acoustic song. But if you were to listen to it, the way we play it live and the way we recorded it, it's a rock song.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's blaring guitar and loud bits and quiet bits. It sounded nothing like that.
Get back, don't fall between the cracks. Looking back, don't give in any slack. Or get gone, gone's gonna bring you down. Gonna die if you just keep sticking around.
What I want to talk about now is that you just, what do you call it? Just jammed for years, right?
Yeah.
And then your first gig comes up.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking whopper.
Yeah.
George, it's a whopper.
No, actually it wasn't. It was that was probably our third or fourth.
Your third or fourth gig comes up, George, is an absolute whopper.
Yeah, so here's a funny story. So at that point, you do the usual Adelaide thing where you go to, we did about 3 or 4 gigs at some pubs at the West Thebby, far out, I can't remember.
Yeah, and how did you guys get into that? You
just call them.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
just hey, we're a band.
The hardest thing is...
play for beer.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And and you have to ring around. And as much as it's a pain in the ass, you kind of rely on your friends to rock up because otherwise there'll be nobody there.
Sorry.
Yeah. You've never seen us play.
I'm coming to the next one.
Thank you. So we did about 3 or 4 gigs and just a backstory. Yeah. Nick, the bass player in the band, every now and then he'd tell us, we'd go to band practice and Nick would be like, oh, I was messaging the singer from, you name any Australian band, I was messaging such and such from
Jebediah.
Yeah, well, not Jebediah.
Oh, okay.
In this case,
Spider-Mate.
No,
I'll keep going through them.
No, in this case, he goes, I've been chatting to the dude from Wolfmother.
Yeah,
and he was saying this for years prior. And me and Steve would be, shorty.
Yeah, this guy's a fuking weirdo. Yeah, he's lying to us.
He's got imaginary friends.
We're gonna write a song about this soon. It's called Liar.
Yeah, pretty right. Yeah,
it's called Nick's a Liar.
Yeah, La La Land. And anyway, one day I remember I was at work, and this is early 2020.
Yeah.
Right, around January, February, something like that. I reckon February. Anyway.
So is that just before COVID?
Literally.
Yeah.
2 or 3 months before the lockdown, the very first lockdown. So Nick calls me, he goes, in a panic. He goes, George, I need a yes or no answer. Wolfmother are playing at the Gov next Thursday, sold out show. We've got the support slot. Can you do it?
What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm thinking, and I was like, this is the same imaginary friend you've been chatting to. Yes.
Wow.
So, and my heart started pounding. It was like, so we were going from playing in front of 20, 30, 40 people to whatever fits the Gov, 800, 700.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was shaking. I was like, as much as I wanted, I said yes, obviously.
Yeah.
So we practiced. We had about a week and a half. Again, not to pump our tires, but we put on a good show. I think we do. When we play our best, which is more often than not, we get a lot of comments. Apart from saying people are like, your song's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But they always say you guys are pretty tight, and that's one thing we that's I always hang our hat on that one because it's like you got to.
Is that something you guys have sat down ages going on? We need to be tight.
No,
or
it just happened. Yeah, it just happened because we practice a lot, basically. And the songs aren't complex. They're not. It's not.
But also you enjoy what you do, so that's probably why you guys are tight.
Exactly. Yeah. So, so in saying that though, even though we're technically probably gig ready, but we were a week and a half away from the gig.
Yeah.
So we practiced pretty much every night leading up to it, and some nights we were nervous, the other nights we were so excited. I was thinking to myself, I was like, fuck, I wonder how I'm going to feel on the night. But dude, I'll be honest with you, not 1 ounce of nervous energy at all.
Really? Even leading like the the day of or the day 2 days beforehand, nothing like that?
I remember it was a Thursday night and I took a day off Thursday, right?
Yeah.
And
did you put it down in annual leave? Because not many people did back then.
Yes, I should have taken a sickie. Take a sickie, and then I'm in the Gov website.
Guys, I'm just going to head out for a bit to go pick up some tech stuff for another radio station and not go back.
Pretty much. Yeah. So, I remember the gig was on a Thursday. I'm pretty sure it was a Thursday night. And, I just woke up, chilled in the morning, grabbed my gig.
That's fucking nuts, because you should be nervous as fuck.
I know, dude. I know. Because I remember when I drive to gigs, I in my head, I tell myself far out. In an hour's time or 2 hours' time, you're going to be playing guitar in front of people. And as soon as you start thinking that, it's like,
when
shit.
You do the countdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's you get nervous, basically.
Yeah.
But I wasn't doing this, though. And even when I was for the Wolfmother gig, it was more excitement than anything.
Do you think, you guys are prepared because you worked your asses off, right? And it's your time to shine. But also, do you think it's something to do with like so much trauma has gone through your body about this that it's gone so far over that you've become, full circle and you're calm, cool, and collected? Or cool, calm, and collected?
Yeah. At the end of the day, though, we're only doing this for fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you make a mistake, big whoops. No one's going to suffer.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You weren't relying on it for a record contract or anything like that. It was just literally a bit of fun.
That's all. That's why we do it. That's why we still do it. We're just for fun.
How did the other boys go with it? Were they sweating a bit? Or
no,
were they all right
not
as
really.
well?
No, it's surprising. Well, I remember before the gig, we got there early for sound check, and then we sat in the booth while people started coming in, and even then it was like, no, it's just. And I remember, in fact, it was a bit of a, because you know how it is with support bands.
Yeah.
The full crowd, you generally don't get the full crowd. You might get 80% if you're lucky.
Yep.
Everyone else is at the beer garden or whatever.
Yeah.
So as much as I wanted to take this opportunity to make the most of it, to play in front of a big crowd. I was like, fuck it. Even if it's 800, I want to play in front of 800 people, like the full house.
Yeah.
And I remember when we first started, our first song, halfway through our first song, nobody was there. There was about 25 people, and you've been at the Gov. 25 people in a big room is just. It's like an old Year 7 school social.
It's pretty uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
For you heading back to my Year 7.
But that's the thing. I remember sitting halfway through the first song. I was like, you know what? People need to hear this. Not so much people. Well, people need to hear this, but. I want to see more people. I want like, even if it's one time ever in my life, I want to play in front of a big crowd.
Yeah.
And then as it happened, halfway through the second song, I reckon we're at our peak numbers by the second song. We played about 7 or 8 songs. It was a 45-minute set.
Wow.
So I reckon for the majority of our set, second song in, we were playing in front of 600-700 people.
I know you guys were cool, calm, and collected, but there's obviously pressure. Playing for the first time, like properly in front of a real audience, real numbered audience.
Yeah.
You got Wolfmother maybe listening as well. Yeah. Record people might even be there. Managements, all that sort of stuff, like future bookers. How do you remember the songs and making sure, like, because my brain is not good at the best of times.
Do you know what, man? Practice.
Yeah, okay.
I remember.
Are you able to let go and just continue to play?
No.
And you just do muscle memory?
No, I'm not that. I do maths in my head for good, bad, or otherwise, right? Yeah. So when I'm playing, you'll find, you're right, dance music, right?
Yeah.
You'll find there's patterns, and just like in any rock song. Yeah. So a verse, an intro might be this riff played 4 times, followed by 2 times this riff, followed by 8 times this, and this is the chorus. And that's how I play. I should play by the groove of the song and by the vibe. I try to. That's the proper way to do it.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it by maths.
Very calculated.
So very calculated. And
that's why you're tight.
Yeah.
If you're just feeling the vibe, you're loose as all hell, right?
I do play by vibe because after a while you do know, there's a change coming up, even without doing the maths.
But I guess then you get is there a difference from when you start playing, you're quite calculated, say you're 3/4 way through the gig, you're very comfortable with what's going on out there. You're starting to love it, properly.
Yeah, exactly.
And you start to relax a bit?
Yeah, you do. And your fingers are warmed up. There's no matter how much warming up you do pre-gig.
Yeah.
It's the first 2 or 3. I remember the first song with the solo was pretty easy. Yeah, I remember hit a dud note. It's like, hope there's not a precedence.
Yeah.
But 2, 3, 4 songs later, my fingers were nice and warm, and it was fine.
That's cool.
And the worst thing is when it wrapped up, because you got your run sheet on the floor in front of you with all the songs.
Yep.
And you'd be surprised how fucking quick it goes, man. It's like it was a 45-minute set, and you go through the first one, and your heart's pounding after the first song. Oh, not pounding in a bad way, but it's like oof, in your head you're going, whew, 1 down. Yeah. All right. Okay, now the next one. And then before you know it, like if you start counting them down like that, before you know it's like, shit, we're on our last song. It's over before you know it. Yeah. And the worst thing, everything comes to an end, I guess. It's not a 24/7 gig.
Yeah.
But I remember it was at the end of the song, and I was like, fuck, I could go another half hour easy. We got easy. I was loving it because the good thing was the crowd was very appreciative. They were digging it.
Were you the one that did the final strum, like wow, like being the guitarist and being the foundation of the band?
Yeah, I always tried to do that, but no.
And then who was your singer? Is it Nick?
Steve. Yeah.
And Steve's like, "You guys have been great. Thank you so much." And you just try to get the last strum in. Do you ever do anything like that?
I'll do that. Yeah, of course. You have to, it's a guitarist thing to do.
And then write it out as far as you can.
But then the drummer could always do.
Oh yeah, that's
after
true.
That, and then I'll just go.
Just ride that cymbal for as long as they can. So you finished that gig.
Yeah.
It's fucking sick.
Oh, I loved it.
You guys have all had the greatest time ever. You've looked at each other going, we can do this forever.
Oh, dude. Yep. Yes.
Did you get any feedback from Wolfmother or say also feedback from the crowd? Like, did they come up and say hi?
Dude, this is the first time ever that the band, not ever, but yes. So when we went down to we took our gear off stage, and then we were standing near the bar. People coming up to us for the first time and saying, "Fuck, man, you guys are fucking excellent." I was like, and I was sitting there, I was like, it's such a good feeling. It is so good. It's like I said, I'm proud of the songs we write. I think our songs are really good. They're killer, right? But when other people dig it, it just makes it that much better. I was like, shit, man. It's like, you like this song? It's like, cool, man. Thanks. You know what I mean?
Not trying to take away from your story, but I still remember the day or the night that I was in the crowd standing at the bar at a venue I was about to play at.
Yeah.
And these two chicks had walked in and they looked at the set list on the wall and they ran their finger from the top right down to my name and went and like pointed at it.
Oh, wow.
And said like 1 a.m. he's on.
Oh, wow.
That's what we're here for. And it was the greatest moment ever.
It's such
just
a good
randoms.
feeling. Yeah, such a good feeling.
Yeah.
Because everyone that knows our music is us, obviously, and our friends.
Yep.
But when it goes outside that circle, it's like, fuck, man, thanks. It's pretty cool. And the funny thing was, I remember after that, and not to sound modest or anything, but I've been playing guitar for 30 years. I can do a bit of this, a bit of that, but I'm nothing special, right? I don't never consider myself anything virtuoso, right? But I remember I was in the men's room in the piss trough, right? And there was a dude coming
in it. A big night.
So I was at the urinal.
Yeah.
And the dude comes up next to me, and I could see in my peripheral vision.
Yeah.
He looks my way, and then he did a double take.
Oh, you're the celebrity.
Yeah.
and why are you in a trough?
Yeah. Get out of there.
Yeah. I got a piss in there, mate. Get out of the trough.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He does a double take. He goes, oh, you're the guitarist on that stage. You're just on, man, you're a fucking killer guitarist, man.
That's like, so good.
Yeah, I'm like, thanks, man. I'll zip up, get the hell out of it.
Yeah. And then looks downwards.
Yeah. Disappointed.
Yeah. You going to play that later on as well? Yeah. Anyway. So, yeah, off the back of that, what happens then? So do you guys go back to the drawing board? You're like, hey, we should do more gigs.
Oh,
this
absolutely.
is fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, mate,
can we get a song out finally, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. That's the sort of thing that puts a cracker up your ass. And you think, you know what? We don't do this with one intention only to make a career out of it. Because if you do, you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
But you do it for fun. My mentality, no matter what I do, especially guitar, right? If you do something, even if it's for a hobby, do it professionally, right? But not professionally to become professional, but just do it properly.
Yeah.
No half-assed efforts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if something comes out of it, perfect, sweet. And by something, I mean gigs, maybe a career. But we're not kidding ourselves.
Maybe a song on Spotify so you can appreciate other people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Things like that. It's just little things like that when people turn around and say, that's pretty good, or we might be able to hook you up with another gig, which is what happened. You know what I mean? There was a guy and a girl in the crowd messaged us or hit us up on Facebook months later, and they said, we saw you guys supporting Wolfmother. We thought you were great.
Yeah.
They play in a local band called Cosmic Landing. And similar music to us, like classic rock kind of style.
Yep.
And they had a gig coming up at the Gov in a few months' time. They said, "Do you guys want to support us?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah,
yeah."
That's how it works. You know what I mean? So yeah, we did get, if you want to call it kickbacks, sort of thing. But the problem was, man, it's again not that we're expecting to take off and conquer the world musically after that gig, but we were in that was the best position we've ever had as a platform to maybe take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Right? Or do something with it, you know what I mean? Because we got so many good reviews from people like at a music shop, a guitar shop saying, oh, like they recognize you, or they say, oh, you were the support at Wolfmother. Like you guys were good, you know, shit like that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately COVID hit and everything stopped. Yeah, dude.
Mother. Before that gig with Wolfmother, did you guys find that you had already like a small support base of people sort of starting to come together?
Not strangers, no.
No.
No, it was all friends, and we do gigs, and there'll always be a someone at the bar or random people. But, it's just the momentum stopped, man. It was disappointing, but.
So what did you guys do through COVID then? So did you guys sort of just jam? Or
we kept on jamming, writing songs.
Obviously
and then
with face masks on and being 1.5 metres away from each other.
Yes. Something like that. So, yeah, we just kept on doing that. But then a while ago, we decided to record our music properly. Because we did a demo. I think it might have been during COVID. No, before COVID.
Was that when I was about to leave Nova? Because I reckon you guys came in on the weekend or something.
Yes, it was a Saturday afternoon, and we used the facilities at Nova.
Yep.
It was during the afternoon. I remember you were in the other studio on air.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
yes. And so we were in the recording room there in the booth.
Yep.
All packed in.
With Miles?
With Miles, yes.
Yep.
And he recorded us. It was a demo.
Yeah.
Basically, the difference between a demo and what we do now, as in proper recording. A demo is basically everybody in one room, plugged in, turned on, microphone up, and record at the same time.
Nothing split channel. It's just one channel. It's just one recording.
Yep. And it sounds like it, but not in a bad way. It's a demo for a reason, basically. Yeah. So we managed to far out 6-7 songs.
Because was that that demo recording? Was that your first ever recording together as a band?
Yeah. With me in the band. Yes.
Yep.
I come think of. I'm not sure if the boys ever did anything pre-George in the band. So
not that it really matters.
They did, that era doesn't count.
No, it doesn't. That was 100 BG before George.
Exactly. Wiped from history.
Yeah, that's right. So you guys do the demo. You're like, this is okay. Yeah. We need to do this properly.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
So we got Miles, who Miles just as a...
Because I used to work with Miles in Nova Production, and he was just fuck the radio stuff. He was really, really good at music production.
He was. He's he plays instruments. I think he's even recorded bands previously. He's recorded his own music, so he knows his stuff. So anyway, so we set up. We currently jam at Steve's house. It's very convenient. It's a solid brick house. Just leave all our gear there. Yep. And Miles comes every week or second week or third week. You know how it is. Life gets in the way. You can't everybody be there. People have families or jobs and all that.
Correct.
So we do it whenever we can. So it's a slow process, but labor of love, I guess.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that's what we do. Basically, Miles comes in. We practice all our songs before he turns. We'll say when Miles is in this week, we record this song.
Yep.
So leading up to that recording session, we'll practice the song, make sure we get all our bits all proper.
Yep.
And that's what we do. So it's like I said, it's a slow process, but we'll get there. So we've got one song.
Yep.
We've got another song, hopefully a week or two away. It's pretty much done. It's in the can. Miles just needs to master it, and we'll upload it.
Yep.
So should I do a what's it called, a shameless plug for our Spotify and YouTube channel?
Absolutely. Imagine if I said no.
I know.
This Andy goes an arsehole. It was just a podcast.
Yeah. So the thing was...
All right, we have to go to the ad break right now.
Let's check traffic.
You're on.
Yeah. So the thing with YouTube, like, again, we're a small channel and one song. So if you were to, being a small channel, if you type in Popular Stranger, you won't get Popular Stranger.
No, I did that, and I got what did I get? I got the daily Madden 23 Ultimate Team content, and an Instagram artist guy called Brody Fresh from somewhere in the US.
So that's not us. Not us at all. So to find us, you basically have to look for the song. So you do a search for Popular Stranger. You're Sticking Around. That's the name of the one song we have up.
Yeah, and it's the white circle with the red P.
Yeah. There's P and a S. Popular Stranger. I can't remember red and blue or red and black or something like that. So it's a white background with a P and a S. So that's our logo for now. So if you get on YouTube, look up Popular Stranger, You're Sticking Around, you'll get that. Yeah, so hopefully in another week or 2 or 3 or 4, we'll have more songs up.
How many do you reckon you got in the bag ready to roll?
We've got one that's literally...
But I mean, like, as in, like, you've got them written sort of thing.
So the way they're recorded is you do instruments at a time.
Yep.
So we've got a number of them after that are the drums. So it's just a matter of adding the guitars and bass and all that. So that is still it's not a one-day process though. Still takes time. But we do have, mate, if on hand on heart, we could easily do 2 to 3 albums full of pretty decent material.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of doing it. You know what I mean? So it's just takes time, takes effort, and so we're also on Spotify as well. So if you get on Spotify, look for Popular Stranger. I think you should find us. There's no other.
Just look for the P and S with the white background.
White background, red and black font text, and
just quickly, because I know you guys are doing another support act. You're going to be supporting Hayley on her single launch down at Pirate Life.
We are. Yep. Sunday, April 16.
Again, it was Nick with his connections.
Yes, knows Steve Jeffrey
from Atlas Genius.
And
that was just like a chance meeting down at Victor.
Basically.
Here we are now.
Yeah. Mate, that summed up a 20-minute story in 2 seconds. But yeah, it was the biggest chance meeting ever.
Yeah.
And just so happened to meet a dude that plays in a huge Australian band.
Yeah.
And here we are. So
and the most random thing, Adelaide style, is that somehow the whole Nova thing, you working at Nova came up, and then Steve goes, "Do you know Andy Martin?"
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, Adelaide becomes a lot smaller, or the world becomes a lot smaller.
It's that whole 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
In this case, it's probably about 3.
Yeah. 3 really good ones.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So April 6th, is that Sunday? Let me check. Sunday, April 16. Yeah, Pirate Life. And we've also got, can I give another shameless plug?
Yeah.
So Friday, June 16 at the Exeter.
Yeah, cool.
We've never played at the Exeter before, but I'm thinking it's in the front.
Just you guys, or is it part of a sort of festivale?
Hayley will be supporting us as we're returning the favour.
Cool.
Yeah.
And she's taking you to Brisbane and Melbourne or something?
Yes. Yeah. In July. So
sick.
We've gone from twiddling our thumbs gigs-wise to all of a sudden we've got gigs. Don't know what to do with them. So.
Wolfmother who? You know what I'm saying?
They'll be supporting us soon.
Yeah. You're not wrong. Well, that's exciting, man.
You know the funny thing with Wolfmother, me and the boys laugh about it all the time because we've never played at a venue where there was a backstage. Like never. You know what I mean?
Does the Gov have backstage?
Yeah, it's very small.
Yeah.
So as you're facing the stage,
if
you're the musician, you walk to your right.
Oh, okay.
Or if you walk to your left, you fall off.
And it's
stage.
like a small green room?
It's basically, yeah. And so we were hanging out there with the boys. And being a famous band, them, not us, the pub brings out pizzas and beers and all that.
Yeah.
So we started nibbling on the pizzas and the beers.
Sorry.
Basically.
Really?
We were told. Yeah, we got the look. It was
really?
I was like, oh, okay, maybe we shouldn't be eating their food.
Far out, man.
And the thing is, we didn't know.
You're doing the Gov a favour by being there.
Exactly. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I was like, oh well.
No, well, I'm proud of you, George.
Thanks, man.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
I might ask this question to you right now. Mm-hmm. What's it like being in Popular Stranger?
It's good, man. It's good. It's a good way to get away from life. You know what I mean? It's for me. I find music and guitar as an outlet. It's therapeutic. You know what I mean? Writing songs, like I said, I couldn't care less about playing cover songs, but I could spend all day at home sitting down, playing guitar, just doodling, and then trying to spit out a riff or a tune, right?
Yep.
And use that for the band, basically. So for me, it's whether I'm jamming with the boys or just hanging out with the boys or at home writing something for the band.
Yep.
It's awesome. And like I said, the experience we had at the supporting Wolfmother, and it's like, far out, is this what it can be like? I was like, I want more of that. You know what I mean?
The crazy thing is, it's like 1% of what it's probably really like as well,
mate,
like
absolutely.
that was a real taste.
Absolutely, man. So, and the crazy thing was we're playing the ESPY in Melbourne, in St Kilda, which is, I guess, like the Gov equivalent over there. ESPY's...
I've been down there. Yeah.
You name any big Aussie band, even international bands, they've played there. So, hats off to Haley and Steve, far out. I was going to say his surname because he's got similar.
Well, because Miles' last name is the same. And I thought they were brothers. Or
I know.
One's got a thick accent.
Yeah.
Thank you, George, for joining me, and all the best with the band and yourself, and just being a massive celebrity known as Popular Stranger.
Thank you very much. We'll see you at the gig at the Pirate Life and scream for us.
Yeah, and hopefully not in the gutter.
Please, no.
No righteous sense of me, you had to hand it.